March 2019, Madison Square Garden, New York City. The air is electric, filled with the roar of the crowd and the sharp crack of a hockey puck hitting the ice. But nobody is looking at the game. Every camera, every eye is fixed on one spot in the stands, where a scene is unfolding that is so unexpected, so deliciously scandalous. It's about to break the internet. There she is, Kate Beckinsale, the Oxford-educated, porcelain-skinned English actress, a woman who built a career on period dramas and blockbuster action films, the very picture of sophisticated grace. And locked in a passionate, almost shockingly uninhibited kiss with her is Pete Davidson, the lanky, tattooed king of Staten Island, 20 years her junior and fresh off a high-profile, broken engagement to a pop superstar. It wasn't just a kiss, it was a collision of worlds. The photograph became a supernova. It was more than just celebrity gossip. It became a cultural Rorschach test. To some, it was a triumphant display of a woman living life on her own terms. To others, it was a cringeworthy spectacle. The world was asking one question. How did the English rose of Hollywood, the woman once defined by an 8-year intellectual partnership and a decade-long Hollywood marriage, end up here, defiantly making out with Hollywood's resident bad boy for the entire world to see? This single moment was the climax of a story that had been brewing for years. A story of love, betrayal, and the audacious rebirth of a woman who decided that if the world was going to call her scandalous, she might as well give them a show.
Before the paparazzi chases and the viral makeouts, there was a different Kate Beckinsale entirely. To understand the explosion, you must first understand the quiet that came before it. In the early 1990s, Kate was less of a tabloid fixture and more of a bookworm. An Oxford student of French and Russian literature, her passions were found not in nightclubs, but on the stage of the university's dramatic society. It was here she had her first taste of mixing performance with passion. A brief fling with a classmate that was more about artistic connection than scandalous romance. She was, by all accounts, on a classical trajectory, a brilliant, beautiful actress destined for period pieces and critical acclaim. Then, in 1995, during a touring production of The Seagull, she met her match. Not just a co-star, but a kindred spirit. The fiery, prodigiously talented Welsh actor, Michael Sheen. Their connection was instantaneous and all-consuming. It wasn't a gentle courtship. It was a wildfire. Within weeks, they were living together, their lives intertwined in a whirlwind of love, lust, and late-night script readings. For 8 years, they were a unit, an intense, fiercely private partnership that felt more profound than any official merit certificate could confirm. They had a daughter, Lily, and built a world that seemed impenetrable. Sheen was her anchor and her champion. Kate herself admitted, "It wasn't until I met him that my life really fell into place." His love was protective, even volatile. During the filming of The Golden Bowl, her first role after giving birth, a co-star reportedly followed Kate to her trailer to berate her for a forgotten line. Sheen, learning of the disrespect, didn't hesitate. He found the man and punched him squarely in the face. This was their dynamic, a fiercely loyal, two-person universe, shielded from the outside world. To the public, they were the perfect, if unconventional, artistic couple. But behind the scenes, a fault line was about to rupture their entire world. The catalyst was a film called Underworld. In 2003, Kate, now a loyal partner and mother, went to bat for her man. She personally lobbied the film's director, Len Wiseman, to cast Michael Sheen in the key role, which he eventually did. But a strange and dangerous thing happened on that set. Amidst the blue-lit Gothic landscapes, a different kind of electricity sparked to life, not between Kate and her longtime partner, but between Kate and her director.
Suddenly, the intensely private Kate Beckinsale was at the center of a very public, very messy scandal. As Len Wiseman filed for divorce, the narrative was set in stone. Kate, the homewrecker. She hadn't just ended her relationship, she had detonated it, along with another woman's marriage. She moved on from the brilliant protective father of her child with the speed that shocked everyone. The fairy tale was over. The English rose had shone her thorns, and in doing so, had written the first truly scandalous chapter of her public life.
Out of the wreckage of two relationships, a new power couple was forged. Within a year of their affair hitting the tabloids, Len Wiseman was divorced and Kate Beckinsale was his fiancée, sporting a dazzling diamond engagement ring that screamed Hollywood royalty. In 2004, they married in a lavish Bel Air ceremony. For the public, it was the ultimate narrative pivot. The messy, scandalous beginning was now repackaged into a story of undeniable, epic romance. Two people who simply couldn't be kept apart. And for a while, they played the part to perfection. They were, by all appearances, the ideal couple. Two stunningly beautiful people at the peak of their careers, masters of the red carpet. They oozed elegance, always smiling, always presenting a united, impenetrable front. They became famous for their over-the-top Halloween parties, events that showcased their shared creativity and cemented their status as Hollywood insiders. They were the couple you expected to see, the ones who made a life of fame look effortless and chic. But the performance, no matter how convincing, was starting to show signs of strain. Behind the dazzling smiles, a different story was unfolding. The public performance of their marriage was all-consuming, but the private reality felt strangely hollow. Observers noted how rarely they acted like a regular, settled couple. Their life together wasn't about cozy nights in, it was about grand public displays. There were no children, no signs of a shared domestic life. Just an endless series of solo projects that put entire continents between them. Their demanding, complicated schedules meant they spent vast stretches of time apart. The passionate, forbidden chemistry that had ignited on the Underworld set began to cool under the harsh realities of two separate, ambitious lives. The sex appeal that defined their scandalous beginning was wearing thin. By 2015, the cracks were too large to hide. The joint red carpet appearances stopped. When they were spotted, it was separately, and eagle-eyed photographers noticed a crucial detail. Their wedding rings were gone. The gilded cage had lost its shine. The official announcement, when it finally came, was sterile and predictable. Wiseman filed for divorce, citing the classic Hollywood catch-all, irreconcilable differences. But the true story was far more brutal and ironic. While Kate was overseas shooting Underworld Blood Wars, continuing the very franchise that had brought them together, Wiseman was photographed getting intimate with a young model young enough to be her daughter. The ultimate twist of the knife. He was doing to Kate precisely what they had been accused of doing to his first wife years earlier. The man she had torpedoed her life for had, in the end, done the same to her. The press had a field day with the symmetry of the betrayal. But if the world expected Kate Beckinsale to retreat, to play the part of the grieving, heartbroken ex-wife, they had severely underestimated her. This betrayal wasn't an ending. It was a liberation. Her time playing by Hollywood's rules was over. A public betrayal of that magnitude could destroy a career. For Kate Beckinsale, it was fuel. She didn't mourn the end of her marriage. She shed it like a skin. Freed from the gilded cage and the weight of being Mrs. Wiseman, a new version of Kate emerged. She was single, she was 43, and she was done caring about anyone's opinion but her own. She wasn't just going to re-enter the dating world, she was going to set it on fire. The first shot across the bowl came in 2017. The target of her affection, Matt Rife, an aspiring comedian and model with razor-sharp cheekbones and a physique that looked like it was sculpted from marble. He was hot, he was confident, and he was only 21 years old. The 22-year age gap sent a jolt through the celebrity gossip ecosystem. This wasn't the kind of quiet, respectable relationship the public expected from a woman in her 40s. This was audacious. The media didn't know what to do. Fans cheered her on for her boldness, while critics immediately reached for a new label to slap on her: cougar. It was a label meant to be derogatory, a way to shame an older woman for daring to desire a younger man. But Kate refused to be shamed. Instead of fighting the tag, she owned it. She met the criticism with a mix of razor-sharp wit and utter indifference. When one critic commented on her Instagram about her dating choices, she famously quipped back with a simple, devastating retort that silenced them. Her message was clear: I am single, I am successful, and I owe absolutely no one an explanation for my happiness. The relationship with Rife was a whirlwind, hot, heavy, and intensely public. But the sheer velocity of the paparazzi attention proved overwhelming for the young comedian. Less than a year later, it was over. But Kate had made her point. This was the new normal.
If Matt Rife was the opening act, Pete Davidson was the headline performance. In January 2019, fresh from the media circus of his broken engagement with pop icon Ariana Grande, Pete Davidson walked into a Golden Globes after-party. Across the room, he connected with Kate Beckinsale. Eyewitnesses described an instant magnetic pull. They spent the entire night engrossed in conversation, laughing like no one else was in the room. They left together, and the new, even more explosive media narrative was born. Their public makeout session at the hockey game a few days later was the match that lit the fuse. The 20-year age gap, combined with Pete's own notoriety, created a perfect storm. It was a cultural obsession. People couldn't look away. Kate explained the attraction simply. She was drawn to his famously dark humor, his vulnerability, his sad puppy vibe. But the judgment was relentless and far harsher than before. This time, the commentary was laced with the distinctly sexist venom. Yet for the 4 months they were together, they seemed to revel in it, flaunting their affection as a middle finger to the critics.
The noise reached a fever pitch when her ex-fling, Matt Rife, decided to weigh in. Asked in an interview for his advice to Pete, he responded with the smug, derogatory remark: "Enjoy it while you can, and run." The comment was bitter and deeply disrespectful. While Kate maintained a dignified silence, Pete Davidson did not. He publicly slammed the comments as sexist and pathetic, questioning why no one seemed to have a problem when older men in Hollywood dated much younger women. He was right, of course. The relationship had become a flashpoint, exposing the world's blatant double standards.
Pete was out of the picture within a year, but the pattern was now firmly established. Her dalliances became legendary. There was the wild, racy night with yet another younger British comedian, Jack Whitehall, where they were seen kissing passionately before disappearing into a luxury hotel together. A delicious scandal that burned brightly for a few nights. Then, as the world went into lockdown in 2020, she found the perfect quarantine companion, Goody Grace, a Canadian rapper 24 years her junior. Theirs was a bizarre and overtly sexual lockdown romance, filled with zero shame and quirky, intimate moments shared online. But like the others, it was a transient affair. By the end of the year, it was over, and she had scrubbed her Instagram clean of his existence. The headlines were no longer about her movies. They were about her taste in men. She was no longer just Kate Beckinsale, the actress. She was Kate Beckinsale, the woman who dated young, hot, famous men and made zero apologies for it. By 2022, Kate Beckinsale's reputation had been so thoroughly forged in the fires of scandal that the media no longer needed an actual romance to create one.
The mere suggestion was enough. The scene was the ultra-exclusive Vanity Fair Oscars party. Kate was seen chatting and laughing with Jason Momoa, the colossal star of Aquaman, who himself was fresh off a very public breakup. At one point, she looked cold, and Momoa, in a simple act of kindness, draped his jacket over her shoulders. In the world of celebrity gossip, this single chivalrous gesture was treated like a confession. The whisper started immediately. Was the mighty Aquaman her next catch? The narrative wrote itself. Momoa, a rugged global superstar, fit the pattern of powerful, high-profile men she was drawn to, even if he didn't fit the younger man trope. The rumor mill went into overdrive, forcing Momoa himself to publicly shut it down. He explained they were just having a friendly chat about England and he was simply being a gentleman. It was a harmless moment, but Hollywood's lens, conditioned by her recent history, could only interpret it as another scene in the ongoing saga of her love life. The scandal, it seemed, was now a shadow that followed her, ready to darken any interaction she had.
A year later, the shadow appeared again. This time, the location was New York City, and the man was Matt Atwater, a person largely unknown to the public. At first glance, they were just two people strolling through the city, but the cameras kept clicking, waiting for the inevitable, and they got it. A moment of intimacy, Atwater's arm wrapping possessively around her waist, a shared laugh that seemed to hint at something more. It was all the tabloids needed. New headlines appeared announcing her latest romance with the same breathless certainty as all the others. The pattern was clear. Any man seen with Kate Beckinsale was no longer just a friend or an acquaintance. He was a potential character in her scandalous story. But the most dramatic echo of her past came in January 2025 at another Golden Globes afterparty. In a moment that felt like a scripted twist, she was reunited with the ghost of her scandalous past, Matt Rife. The comedian whose youth had first branded her a cougar was now a star in his own right. Onlookers captured photos and videos of them locked in an intense, intimate conversation at the back of the hall. Then reports exploded online. They weren't just talking, they were kissing.
The images went viral instantly, sparking a firestorm of speculation. Were they back together? Was this a secret rekindling years in the making? Beckinsale's PR team scrambled to control the narrative, issuing a swift denial. It is incorrect that they were kissing. They are friendly exes who were having a fun time speaking. They even attempted to have the most incriminating photos pulled from the internet. But it was too late. The story was out, fueled by too many eyewitnesses who swore they saw what they saw. The woman who had so carefully built a fortress of defiance was now, once again, at the center of a scandal she couldn't control, haunted by the very man who helped create her infamous reputation in the first place.
Since that explosive night at the Golden Globes, an uncharacteristic quiet has fallen over the life of Kate Beckinsale. There have been no new rumored boyfriends, no scandalous paparazzi moments, no witty, headline-grabbing clapbacks on social media. After years of living as a lightning rod for public opinion, it seems she has finally stepped out of the storm. Behind the scenes, her focus has shifted entirely to her craft, pouring her energy into major upcoming projects like the spy thriller Lioness. So, what does this quiet mean? Is this the final chapter? A woman who has had her fun and is now settling into a more serene, private existence? Or is it simply the calm before the next tempest? The journey from the English rose to the alleged homewrecker, from the perfect Hollywood wife to the unapologetic cougar, has been a masterclass in defying labels. She has proven that she is not a character in a story that others write for her. She is the author of her own narrative, and she alone holds the pen. The headlines about her career are once again starting to eclipse the headlines about her men. But with a life this bold and a spirit this defiant, one thing is certain. The next explosive chapter is always just one choice away. The world will be watching, waiting to see what she does next.
If you enjoyed this look into the scandalous life of Kate Beckinsale, there's a good chance you'll enjoy the video on your screen right now. Click on it, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into your favorite icons. We'll see you in the next one.